Oh, you got another minute to go, man.
Mike's up there. No, check your phone.
That's slow. That clock is slow. We're ready.
All right. Call this EAC Governing Board meeting to order. We will begin with the pledge if everyone will join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes.
And we'll
Call the public. Here for that. Board member Montier will join us, but he's running a little late, so we're expecting soon. We have board minutes from our April 15th regular and executive session meetings.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes on the executive section minutes as presented.
Second.
For discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. College financial reports and vouchers, Vice President Walker.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, present to you the financials through the month of March for the current fiscal year. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have.
I move that we receive the financial reports and accept the vouchers as presented.
I second that.
The motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We ready for?
Is Keith coming? Or wait, Keith? They're on the right.
Okay. We'll turn some time over to Special Assistant Keith Alexander.
Like there's a parade in front of Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, President Haney. We've got some distinguished guests here with us. And you know, the superstar, I'm going to just a minute. We do have some other guests as well. I want to point out we have members of the Southern Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce with us. Chamber Ambassador Ed Lopez is here. You probably know Edmund. Also, their international director has come to town today, Dan Valle, right there.
Welcome.
But what we're really pleased about is having the Mexican consul at the Douglas office here today. As we've had discussions in the past, we used to have a lot of students come over from Mexico and attend here. We would have some of our students, our children, grandchildren would go and study for a while in Mexico and come back. And for a number of reasons that really has fallen off in recent years. And so the consulate has approached us and is spending the entire day here in Graham County. They came yesterday. They've already started working on some of these initiatives. They had a detailed conversation with Vice President Wood. They're also looking to build tourism ties, trade ties. We're going to be accompanying them with help of the Small Business Administration today, visiting some of the businesses in town who wish to expand trade with Mexico, some that already have facilities on cross-border. So they're really reaching out, doing a wonderful thing. The consul is Ricardo Pineda Avion, and He actually has been in diplomatic service his entire career. He's been in San Diego. He opened up the first consulate for Mexico in Boise, Idaho, the first one ever in Idaho. He achieved the rank of ambassador, even though he's in the consulate. He's a full ambassador. So it is really quite an honor to have that state visit with us here today. So I'm going to turn the time over to him, let him visit with you a little bit and introduce his staff. So please join me in welcoming me, Ambassador Pineda.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the board. Mr. Moody, Mr. Master, Mr. Matiz, Mr. Larson, President Haney, thank you for the hospitality for having us here today. Ms. King, Mr. Walker, Mrs. Walker. I really thank you for the opportunity. Well, we have had a wonderful morning this morning. We arrived yesterday. We toured the mine and every resource around. And but you have accomplished over here in South Florida, in Thatcher. It's amazing. How a beautiful city. I have to confess to you that it's my first time over here. I was just appointed to Douglas in November, December 2018. And then this virus came and broke everything down. It's amazing. So I stated this morning, we should have done this a year before. But based on the virus, the high spread of this virus, we couldn't. So we're doing that today. So what we are doing over here, as we just stated, is building relationships, foster new relations with the consulate. The decision of Mexico's government for us to stay in Douglas, well, it's probably because we have the other side, which is a Mexican community, 120,000 people in Agua Prieta, Sonora. But our responsibility is to provide services to the Mexican voice, the Mexican community, but the service to each and every one, to the American community as a whole also. And we are intended to do that. So this is our first visit, and it's not going to be the first one. We are intended to be here as frequent as it is necessary. This very morning, we have a wonderful conversation with your president, President Haney, about what we need to do in order to foster our relationship, in order to foster changes in between students, both sides of the border, in order to duly identify programs that need to add to our communities. And I guess based on this exchange and in a meeting we have later, I guess that we have reached different projects that we can build upon. Now, the design is going to be in the coming days, weeks, and they were intended to execute those. We are intended to bring more students to foster our relationship, to work with the authorities in order for us to be supported. This very morning, we talk also about sistership in between cities like Safford, Thatcher, and Cananea, Sonora. The similarities are amazing. Both we have mining communities, both we have astronomical observatories, both sides of the border. Both we have amazing college and universities. So everything is set for us to continue in this effort. And what I found today is an amazing organization, a beautiful work, no, that can be of good use for both of our communities to continue. I said this morning, and I need to convey you this message. Future lies ahead of us. And we have in our relationship every component and every ingredient to do that. Not only in terms of trade or investment. The US is the main trade partner for Mexico. And now, because of trade and because the so-called USMCA or NAFTA 2, hasta plus, we have everything in place because now Mexico is the main trade partner of the US. We talk about challenges. Well, we have immigration challenges. And the reason is simple. We share a 2009 border, which is probably one of the biggest borders in the world. The Canadians share a big border with you, but the size of the population of the Canadians is a specific part of the Mexican population. So the challenge we have is based on social exchanges and interaction that we want to have and foster on an everyday basis in between our borders. More than 400 million people is crossing by, with the exception of the pandemic time, because the border is highly restricted now. We have high hopes that the border is going to be open in the coming days. No, I cannot state when because that depends on Washington and Mexico City, but hopefully soon. In the meantime, we can make sure that our change of supply chain and industrial change can be there. Essential workers passing by to supply our basic needs and trade continue. I said this very morning also that in Nogales, on an everyday basis is passing through 60% of the produce you are consuming in the US. Basically, the ones that you consume in winter time. So, but we have in between us, it's a great relationship. Not only with people, but trade, investment, and future. So I can get you like much more time talking to you about the benefits of our relationship and what lies ahead. But I'm going to be brief. I just want to tell you that we are very happy to be here. We really appreciate your hospitality. No, we love to be in your beautiful city and in your beautiful college. Thank you, President Jaime, President Beach, and every one of you, members of the board of this great institution. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep questions if you wish.
Delighted that you're here. Thank you very much for coming and spending your time with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'd like to get some photos if we can get up and stand in front and get some photos. Is that okay? We'll come around to you.
Okay.
We're gonna get a bigger group here.
Okay. One, two. Thank you. Thank you.
I think I used to talk to you. I used to talk to you, Mr. Tucson.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a girl that was for you that was really a doll. Yes. It's been a long time, but I it was like in the late 90s, early 2000. Was you at Tucson at that time?
No, that's right.
No, at that time, then it wasn't you. And Colette College, yes. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Greeley County Advisory Committee, Dean McBride.
Thank you, Chairman Larson, members of the board. My committee report is attached. Also, just a few highlights. We had the Morenci Community Partnership Panel meeting on Tuesday, May 11th. So I just want to provide a few highlights. Copper prices are close to $4.50 per pound, which is high and means FMI is in great shape. They do have 250 vacancies, job vacancies, 70 in the Safford area. Most of these are in the skills trades area. And so FMI is working with GIFT and EAC to try and look at a diesel mechanic program, also looking at welding and electrical programs to kind of help see if they can fill these job vacancies. Also, they've reopened grants because copper prices are up. They've got more money, so they're willing to share with the community. And so those are some highlights from that meeting. Also, we have an action item. We have Brianna Morales, Steve Rutherford, and Joe Garcia have all agreed to continue to serve on the Greeley County Advisory Committee. So I present their names for your approval. Be happy to answer any questions.
I make a motion that the 3 representatives that has been nominated by Dean McBride be approved.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve the committee advisory members. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Dean McBride.
Thank you.
Gila County Provisional Community College District, Senior Dean Longhorn.
Hi, members of the board, Chairman Larson. I don't have any additional items to report other than what I provided. We did have a pretty awesome ceremony for both Payson and Globe campuses for the nursing pinning, as well as the commencement exercises. In Gila County, they have continually and always recognized their certificate earners at their programs. And so I know we did that this year, but they have done that for years and years. And so I think it's a great addition to what we're doing at our commencement ceremonies. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
You mentioned that you had some interviews set up.
We do. Actually, we are interviewing 6 individuals this week. We have some great candidates, a lot of individuals with excellent experience that would be great fits for both Payson and Globe. We had about 40 applicants. And again, we've sifted through all of those, and then we will be having second interviews for those. We're looking at the end of May, first week in June for the second interviews, which will also involve the district executive team on Thatcher's campus.
Excellent. Thank you. Eastern Arizona College Foundation Alumni Association Director of Repair.
Chairman Larson, members of the board. Executive Director Udall has prepared the report that you have in your packets that highlights a new scholarship starting for nursing students in Gila County, as well as our first in-person meetings of both the foundation and Alumni Association boards since the beginning of the pandemic that occurred over the last month and a half. If there are any questions I can address, I'd be happy to do so.
Okay, thank you for your report. Okay, 6A, consider legal publication of the 21-22 budget. Vice President Wilk.
Thank you, Chairman Larson, members of the board. I present to you the official forms for publication. As you know, next month we'll be approving that final budget and also having a possible truth and taxation hearing. These documents are the culmination of the reports you've received over the last couple of months. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
How long does it have to be published? How long does it have to be published?
We'll publish it twice in the Eastern Arizona Courier in the next few weeks, over the next few weeks. That information, if you look on the public budget hearing page, will tell what those dates are. And that's in accordance, of course, with the state statute, following those guidelines of the number of days that they have to be published before the public hearing. And of course, truth and taxation as well. Now, the amount proposed on the budget, which of course is not official until it is approved, does show the maximum amount of the levy that we could levy. As you know, whatever we publish, we can always go less, but you can never go more. So we are publishing the capacity that does exist, which is approximately 4.69%. That would be the 2% for this year, and the excess capacity that we have from prior years.
I'd move approval to publish the budget.
I second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Going to 6B, consider adoption.
Thank you, Chairman Larson, members of the board. This one will look very familiar to you. This is what we presented in last month's board meeting for the EAC budget. There have been no changes. This would just be for resolution now to adopt this budget for the coming fiscal year. Again, I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
We need to adopt a motion to adopt the EAC budget.
I move that we approve the 21-22 EAC budget as presented.
And a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Vice President Walter. Okay, new business, consider the 2021 salary schedules, employee-related policies, regulations, the issuance of employment contracts, President Hagan.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, presented for your review and for your approval are the 2021-2022 salary schedules for all employees, faculty, and all staff, including support staff and administration, including employee-related policies and regulations. The salary schedules have not changed from prior year, with the minor exception of some of the support staff positions at the entry level. We have made some minor adjustments to those to reflect current changes in the state minimum wage law. But those are the only changes to the salary schedules. In addition to that, there have been some changes on the faculty salary schedule, which are general cleanup of the language, including some position titles, as well as some adjustments of the load calculations for faculty. But otherwise, the salary schedules are unchanged. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, but they stand for your approval.
Make a motion, we accept the salary schedule as presented.
We have a motion. Second. Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Consider non-tax supported programs, Vice President Walker.
Yes, Chairman Larson, member of the board. This is presented to you for resolution to approve these guidelines. We do this on an annual basis, so you'll be familiar with the documents. Basically, it gives a description of those, what we refer to as Fund 2 accounts and the use of those funds. Things tend to have stayed the same as they normally do in these accounts. The priorities and the guidelines for these accounts can be adjusted from time to time with board approval. But as they stand, I'd be happy to answer any questions in regards to any of the accounts.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the non-tax supported programs as presented.
I second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider designation of chief fiscal officer. Vice President Wilk.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, this would be a resolution to appoint myself, kind of feels like writing yourself a check here, as the chief fiscal officer, as is required by state statute. You'll notice this is a new form. It has changed full times in the last couple of years, the way that this is done and the way that we need to submit it to the Auditor General's office. This would be a designation for the upcoming year. I currently hold the designation for this current year as well, and we will be doing this on an annual basis. This is to submit our financial reports as well as our expenditure limitation, and to act in that capacity to sign those on behalf of the college and submit those. So this would be a resolution for the board to appoint me into that designation.
I make a motion that we appoint Keston Welker as the chief fiscal officer designated to officially submit the fiscal year 2022 annual budgeted expenditure limitation report to the Arizona Auditor General on the district governing board's behalf, and to authorize Chairman Larson to execute a resolution regarding the same.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Report on the district financial audits for the period ending 6/30/2020.
Yes, Chairman Larson, members of the board, I am happy to present you with the audited financial report for fiscal year 2020. As you probably already have noticed, we received again an unmodified opinion. In addition, there are no findings in this year's financials. This will be the first time in 4 years we've had no findings. Those were in relation to IT and financial aid findings that were frankly across the country. But we have been able to address those in their entirety, which is very good news. We've had amazing departments and teams working on those findings, and the auditors were very happy as well to be able to give us that finding-free audit report. In general, our finances are looking very, very healthy, and it is going to allow us to take on some significant projects in the near future and even long-term, as long as we keep moving in this direction. We've attached some highlights of the financial report for you to review. These can also be found on the Auditor General website, and we'll be posting them to our own website as well, as required by statute. I don't believe there's an action item here. This is just an information and for you to officially receive these reports. And I believe you were sent a link as well in your packets to the Auditor General website where these can be found.
Like to offer my congratulations to that report. Good.
Excellent. Looks like the bottom line is looking very good also.
Yes,
It's nice to see that.
it is.
That was getting a little scary there for a while, so I'm delighted that it's looking good here.
For what it's worth, this year is looking very good too.
Good, good. And hopefully enrollment will be up too, with things coming to an end with the pandemic and back in the state prisons, and hopefully soon in the federal prisons, everything will start returning to an increase in enrollment.
Absolutely.
This represents, by the way, a lot of work on the part of Mr. Welker and the entire fiscal office down there. So they are really to be congratulated on all of those efforts working with the auditor this past year. So thank you, President.
That's not an easy job.
It is not.
No. Well done. And I think you have some really good people working with you, Heston,
We do.
or for you. Because I've met some of them and they seem like they're doing an excellent job down there.
Yes. We still need to introduce everyone to our new controller.
Yes, I'm anxious to meet him. I have not met him yet.
Great.
Yes, salute to you and your team. Tell them they're doing a good job.
Well, do. Thank you.
Consider contracts, Vice President Welker.
It's not coming. This is a resolution for the board to give for us to pursue this contract. It's quite a unique one and is really exciting. An IGA with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. You'll notice that we are planning on providing college level classes to law enforcement in the Maricopa County area. This would be a resolution to give the president the authority or who he designates to sign the contract. But it is a great opportunity we have here to offer those courses and to train that our law enforcement and to form that partnership with them, hopefully into the future as well. I'd be happy to answer questions. I may pass some of them off to Dr. Wood as she has been part of those negotiations as well. So,
Will that be held on this campus? The training?
The courses will be online, the didactic portions, and then got a bug over here. And then the actual clinicals will be in Maricopa.
In Maricopa.
So that they won't have to travel.
But so someone from here will travel to do the
That's right.
clinicals.
That's right.
Okay, so they'll come from our campus.
That's right. Yes, it's our faculty who will provide the clinical instruction.
Well, I make a motion that we authorize the president or personnel designated by the president to sign the agreement with the external entity as presented.
Second. Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Update on personnel, President Hayden.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, presented for your review is the updated personnel matrix. As you can see, we have a number of positions, people, excuse me, who have either resigned or have retired that we are replacing, and a couple of new positions. We have filled 2 of those positions, and we are excited to onboard those individuals to campus. You'll of note is that very bottom position where Laurie Avila, who is our HR director and has been with us for 22 years. She's retiring at the end of this fiscal year. And we have found a replacement in Lydia Newkirk, who has been working with the city of Safford. Prior to that, she was in Tucson. And prior to that, she was with the hospital in human resources. We are excited to have her begin in June 7th, I believe is her start date. Be happy to answer any questions at this point.
Ryan, you must have worked with her then.
You're lucky to have her.
Good. Coming from you, that's a very good recommendation.
She comes very highly recommended. And I've had a chance to meet with her a few times, and we are really excited to start working together.
Good. It's a very important position.
Absolutely.
All right, general information discussion of the same. The next district governing board meeting is Thursday, June 10th at noon. Do you have anything, President Haney?
I have a couple of items of note, Chairman Larson, members of the board. As you all know, our 132nd annual graduation ceremony was held last Friday evening at John Nicholson Stadium. We conferred 396 degrees on, I believe it was 371 students. A couple of students got multiple degrees. And we had our commencement speaker here on campus, who is Arizona State Treasurer Kimberly Yee. We were excited to host her on campus and had a great lunch and dinner with her just prior to the ceremony itself. The ceremony went off without a hitch, and it was a great celebration. And if you were in town at all, you probably heard the fireworks because there were many fireworks. As you also know, that Governor Doug Ducey signed Senate Bill 1453 last week, which authorizes community colleges in the state of Arizona to offer 4-year degrees. Now, this makes Arizona the 24th state in the country to allow community colleges to offer baccalaureate level degrees. And we're excited that we are now able to do this. This is an effort that's been at least 2 decades, if not longer, in the making. And the legislative stars really aligned with tremendous support from our community to offer that support that enabled the legislation or the legislators and the governor to pass and sign this bill. It passed overwhelmingly in the House on a 55-5 vote. And then what we thought would be a very tight vote in the Senate actually ended up quite different. It passed on a 24-6 vote with strong bipartisan support. So now our next task is to form a task force and to determine which baccalaureate program or programs that we would like to pursue, ensuring that they will be successful by ensuring that there are enough students that want those programs, and working with our community partners as well, whether it's the hospital, prisons, or Freeport, or someone else that we haven't identified yet. The process will likely take a couple of years at the very least, as we work to a point where we can ask the governing board to approve it. After the board approves those programs, then we take it to the Higher Learning Commission and seek their authorization. And then we seek it to the Department of Ed for their authorization for Title IV funding. I have to recognize the efforts of Representative Becky Nutt, who really supported this. This was her bill, and the entire House leadership for signing on to this bill that really made this possible. I also have to recognize the efforts of Keith Alexander, who really also helped behind the scenes and made this really happen. There are really only a few community colleges in the state currently that have actively sought this and have indicated that they will actively pursue these. Eastern Arizona College is one, the Maricopa Community College District is another, and Yavapai College in Prescott and Yavapai County, but there may be others as we begin. We are now in summer because we just had graduation. COVID protocols are still in place. However, just as the meeting got started, I got a notice from a very interested citizen in the community that the CDC has updated its guidelines to suggest or to let us know that fully vaccinated people don't need to wear a mask or physically distance during outdoor or indoor activities, large or small. Federal health officials say. So this is the fullest easing of the pandemic restrictions to date. So we are grateful for that. We will continue to work through the guidance and recommendations from the CDC, from state and county health officials. Mr. Matish, you can throw your mask away because I know you're fully vaccinated. I'll throw mine with you. How about that? Anyway, excited for those changes. And as you had mentioned, Mrs. Moody, excited for an upcoming semester that we hope will be more typical than what this past year has been. Having said that, I have to recognize the tremendous efforts of our faculty and our staff this past year. It's been a crazy year, to say the least, in terms of trying to continue to pursue a very successful semester that gave the experience to our students that they had come to expect, with in-person classes, with hybrid classes, with online classes, and all of the mix. We've had activities on campus, restricted, but still activities on campus. We've had students in the residence halls, and plays and concerts, again, with restrictions, but grateful for all of the efforts of the entire campus and the community that have enabled this semester or this academic year to be a successful one. We are looking forward to the fall.
I think you also mentioned, didn't you, that we're the only community college that did stay fully open during the pandemic?
We are really the only college that's been as open as we have been. Most of the other institutions in the state have been very locked down in terms of faculty and staff and classes. We took the opposite approach and determined that as long as we followed the guidelines with respect to social distancing, masks, and hand sanitizing and other hygiene protocols, that we could have a successful in-person experience. And I believe we did it.
I think they did it very successfully. I'm glad that we were able to do what we did. And because that's, of course, to the leadership, administration, and everyone on this campus working together as a team.
Yes. And thank you to the governing board for your support through this academic year, through the pandemic. I know we're not out of the woods yet, and I'm not going to suggest that we are. It's not over with yet, but we are certainly headed in the right direction. Happy to answer any questions.
I just want to make a comment that it goes clear back to Bill Kokenik. He got the ball rolling, I guess.
Jake was Jack Brown, Bill and Jack both worked on that together.
Yeah.
That was an effort by both of them because those two worked very closely together.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. We really are standing on the shoulders of giants and we get to celebrate, but the efforts go back decades.
And that shows because Jack was a Democrat and Bill was Republican, and the two of them worked hand in hand, side by side for the cause of EAC.
Yes.
And they're the ones who started it, and I'm so glad it's come to fruition. It's the greatest thing. I'm sure they're celebrating somewhere for us.
What other states in our part of the country have also approved four-year degrees for community colleges?
Actually, most other states in this part of the country, California, Utah. Susan, are you aware of any?
New Mexico has.
New Mexico
has not. Washington has. A few other states. It really started with Florida. Florida is the one that got the ball rolling about 20 years ago or so. And it's a growing trend across the country.
And you anticipated it being kind of a 3 to 5 year process?
I say 3 to 5, knowing that I don't know, but recognizing that it'll be a multi-year process at the very least.
Well, 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Thank you. Need an executive session?
Make a motion that we move into executive session.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's what, Greg, are you?
We're all set.
What's this mean?
High five. I think he's saying high five.
Talk to the hand. Okay. Item 11, consider the president's employment contract.
I make a motion, we approve the president's contract as presented.
Second.
I'll second that.
We need to recommend in that the chairman's wanted to sign that, or is that just given?
Oh,
No, we don't have to.
you don't need to.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, they'll
that's
sign.
automatic.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
We have a lot of seconds.
Yeah, we have the third and the fourth.
We're ready.
We are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.